learned skills. Now, why do I say that? Now, many people, of course, don't understand this, right? And they will say to me things like, my son, I read such a lot of books, isn't it? I read the what do you call that Miss Peregrine book and all that, all three of them, yet he doesn't write very well and he doesn't know comprehension. Hello? Reading and writing are learned skills. They're not things that come to you, boom, like that. But speaking is different. So if I have a baby and I put the baby in chickens, the baby will grow up speaking like a chicken. Right? If I put him with dogs, he will grow up speaking like a dog. But if I put him with people, he will grow up speaking the language of the person, whoever brought him up, right? But when it comes to reading and writing, they have to be taught how to read and how to write. There is no such thing as because you read a lot, you will automatically be a good writer. Not true, because when you are reading, your focus, as your son's case is, I can tell you, is really not on the language. He's really interested in what's going to happen to the children. Is Miss Peregrine going to cook them for dinner? They're not interested in how the writer is telling the story and using all these literary devices. You probably ask him, name me one literary device there or one simile, he won't be able to tell you, right? Because the goal there is extensive reading. Reading for pleasure. The opposite of that is intensive reading, reading for comprehension. So what he needs in school, when he's doing in school all the comprehension tasks, is intensive reading skills, not extensive reading. Okay? So reading and writing must be taught. Children do not automatically know how to write, sort of thing. And even if they can write, if they want to write well, they have to learn the skills of writing well. Okay? Secondly, reading helps writing, but you need to learn how to write well. Absolutely my point, right? If you read a lot, that feeds into your writing, because after a while, you begin to notice that writers write in a certain way. They use certain words. When my son was little, he read The Lord of the Rings. Yeah? Have you read The Lord of the Rings? Never ever, huh? Yeah. Well, my son was about primary 5 when he read The Lord of the Rings. And after that, he started writing all of his stories like The Lord of the Rings. It has this big, epic starting, all of his stories. Now, of course, he never did well in school. Schools don't like that kind of stories, right? They like the kind of stories, where the son is... No, they don't. Please don't write that way, right? But there you are, right? So sometimes when children read a lot of a certain kind of writer or certain kind of books, they like to write like that author and write like that. But they also have to realize that when you are writing, you have to pay attention to who your audience is and what your purpose is. You cannot just write any old thing that you like, especially in exams. Okay, so purpose and audience is very important. Number 3, spelling and grammar are important, but they're not the keys to good writing. All the time I scold my teachers. You know what they do? They take an essay. First thing they do, they take out the red pen. And then they start correcting all the spelling and all the grammar. I say, hello, have you even read the essay? Do you know what the child is saying to you? No, but they're correcting all the errors, right? At the end of it, there was one teacher who got me so mad. ECP, this child wrote, East Coast Parkway, everything in small letters throughout the essay. She corrected all of it. I said, must correct me? One time enough already, you don't have to correct everything, right? Wasting red ink. But she thought it was very important. That's not important. Child's not ever going to learn anything from doing that, right? So if you're a mother who's always correcting spelling la, grammar la, and all that in the writing, you are not paying attention to the big thing. The big thing is the message, the story, whatever you are writing. That's why we have people called editors, They are the ones who correct your spelling and your grammar when you write, yeah? So don't fuss too much about that. Finally, of course, everybody wants children to write good stories, Oh, you must write a good story, and all this sort of thing. But never teach them how to write a basic sentence. Have you come across children, and I have a lot, at primary 5, cannot write a good sentence? Or they all write all the boring sentences. I see a cow sees me, the cow runs away. Hello? That's not very exciting, right? Not going to get an answer from me, okay? So the best kind of writing really depends on the way in which you use sentences, yeah? The other day I went to a talk by an Ang Mo guy, talking about Buddhism. then I was saying to my husband, it's actually very true. When you go to listen to a talk by some native speaker, their vocabulary is very different. Yeah, they use different words. And you come away saying, gee, never heard that word used for a long time. But sometimes when you go to a lot of local speakers and local thoughts, you never learn a new word because they always use the same words. There isn't any exciting words that are used, that sort of thing, right? So it's the same in the children's writing. There are no exciting sentences. It's always the I see a cow variety. I call it, I see a cow sees me. So, okay? So today, what is it that I'd like to cover in the 2 hours that I will chop through it, right? First and foremost, I want to talk about the concept of sentence fluency. I know Chiwon talked about reading fluency. That's really important. Notice the concept of fluency actually goes through all of English. You don't just need to read fluently, you need to speak fluently and you need to write fluently as well. Okay? Then I want to talk about the 4 basic kind of sentences. And this is a very simple trick that if you have children in lower primary and even upper primary, it will straight away improve their writing. Yeah. Then I want to talk about how I can make sentences longer and more interesting. Most children who are not very good writers write your basic, boring SVO sentence. I see a cow, that kind of sentences, right? Or this is a big cow. Oh, I'm so excited, yeah? So we want to talk about expanding there. And I want to very quickly review the simple, compound, and complex sentences also. This will apply to lower and upper primary. And I'll tell you why I do that later on, right? And then I want to show you some ways in which you can show your children how to write more interesting sentences and therefore elevate the quality of their writing, the style in their essay. And finally, of course, some tips on how to develop sentence fluency. Okay, we're trying to do all of this in 2 hours or less than that, yeah? Does that sound all right? Is it something that, will help you? Wow. In between, if you have a question, just raise your hands and shout lah. Don't wait till the end lah, huh? You wait till the end, you might forget. I might forget as well, okay? Okay, so first thing, what is this business called sentence fluency, right? Now actually everything is in your notes. Don't need to really take pictures. Sentence fluency, of course, refers to the rhythm and the flow of language, right? It's the sound of word patterns. How does the text sound when you read it aloud? Now, if a text is written very well, it sounds very nice. It's like, let's say, music to your ears. If it's not written very well, it sounds very choppy. Right? So fluent writing is well crafted. So the reader just moves through the piece very easily. You don't struggle to try and understand what the person is saying and things like that. So I have a little definition and I left some blanks in there. Sometimes I do that so that people have something to do. Right? So sentence fluency is the way individual words and phrases sound together within the sentence. So how do the words and the phrases sound when you put them together? And in the ways groups of sentences sound when they come one after the other. So when you read a paragraph in a child's essay, does it sound nice to your ear? Has it got a musical ring? And sometimes when I say this to my teachers, they kind of look at me and say, huh? Got music, man? Oh, of course, I said. English is a musical language, isn't it? Go ti-tum, 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 right? So remember the old, you're too young to remember this, but there was this old movie called, what is it called? My Fair Lady. Have you seen that movie? No, it's about this poor girl called Eliza Doolittle who speaks terrible English, and then she meets this guy, Professor Higgins, who, of course, is a speech specialist or a phonetician. And Professor Higgins takes Eliza as a protege and taught her how to speak like a lady. In England, people can tell what class you come from by the way you speak. Yeah, it's true, right? They used to make fun of Margaret Thatcher because she was a grocery man's daughter and she didn't pronounce the sounds very well. So one of the sentences that Professor Higgins used to make Eliza say was, the rain in Spain stays mainly on the plain. Right? The rain in Spain stays mainly on the plain. It's not the rain in Spain, the rain in Spain stays mainly on the plain. Right? How kind of you to let me come. Boring Englishish. How kind of you to let me come. Right? So it's not Jack and Jill went up the hill. It's Jack and Jill went up the hill. Right? Same kind of fluency there. I know when I walk past the classroom here, Jack and Jill went up. Yeah, you laugh, right? But it's very pathetic, yeah? So that's what we mean by fluency also, okay?